and you have more people and more responsibilities and more clients, there's a cost of distraction.
What is the most specific that being more of a CEO means for you day to day, right? Does it mean stop trying to play the salesperson over here, stop trying to be the technical person over here? Like, what's the most direct application when you finally sit back and go, okay,
We're the number one reason why we're not growing fast enough.
The owner.
We're the bottleneck. We're the biggest bottleneck in the company. All right. Hey, my name is Charles Gaudet. I'm the CEO of Predictable Profits, the author of the Predictable Profits Playbook, and the author of the Beyond Seven Figures podcast.
Love it. And can you tell us your secret to a good life?
Yeah, actually, my superpower, I could sum it up into gratitude. And it's funny because gratitude is the most powerful emotion that a human can have. It doesn't stand on extremes. It's not a matter of love, which is an extreme, or hate, which is an extreme. Gratitude's in the middle. And the reason why that becomes a superpower, and even that inside of business, is that we're going to experience these different periods of challenges. And some people can experience a challenge and then look at, why is this happening to me? When you have this mindset of gratitude, you can say, okay, this happened. Why is this the best thing that could happen to me right now? And that allows you to think in terms of opportunities and possibilities to come up with solutions, because it's already happened. Right? So why could this be the best thing that could happen to me right now? And so instead of why did the things happen to me, why did this happen for me? And it took me a long time to figure that out for myself. But as entrepreneurs, we're constantly balancing stress. And when you can get your mindset right, not only do you reduce stress, but it allows you to see things that other people can't see, because you're looking for that opportunity. Let's say a client leaves. Right? A client leaves and you're pretty bummed out about it. This is a bummer. So instead of, oh, this is a bummer, you get all stressed out. Why is this the best thing that can happen to us? It's like, well, maybe we didn't have enough touch points. Maybe we could have built a better roadmap. Maybe we should reach out and ask them and talk to them and figure out exactly why that happened. You start building in ideas and systems and processes. And then before you know it, you realized, holy cow, this really was the best thing that could happen to us. It's making us more robust. In 2020, we went through the same exercise in 2020 when our clients were sitting there and borders are shut down. Competitors are going out of business left and right. The best example I have is a client who's in the travel industry, does international travel. He calls me up from his parents' house. His hair's all disheveled. And he says, Charlie, we're FaceTiming. That's why I could see his hair was all disheveled, right? He says, Charlie, look, I just need you to tell me that I should shut the business down, and I'll shut it down. I trust you for a long time. I just need your blessing. So what are you talking about? He says, well, I only get paid when I put people on a seat in a plane, and planes aren't leaving. Okay. I said, are they still opening up your emails? Oh, yeah. Are they clicking on links? Yeah. You think they would buy if they could? And he goes, oh, yeah, of course. So why is this the best thing that could happen to you right now? He says, I don't think you understand what's really going on in the world. So no, I definitely understand. But why is this the best thing that could happen to you right now? And he goes, I'm having a hard time thinking that you're okay, man. I'm not smoking the way back here. I promise you that. And so I wouldn't get off the phone with him until he started answering these questions. He's like, well, our biggest competitors doing hundreds of millions of dollars a year, they've already went out of business. They've already just declared that they were going out. They laid people off in the whole deal. So the landscape is now opened. Make a long story short, we changed the message to meet the market. He broke every daily, weekly, monthly sales record. He then ended up being the number one company in his category in the world, and he still to this day holds that position. COVID was the best thing in the world to happen to his company. Never would have done what he did if COVID didn't happen. And 86% of our clients experienced a very similar result. That's why it's so important to have that mindset.
I love that. So in the times when you've been disheveled in the past, right? So you're in the other seat, you're on the other side of the FaceTime call, and you're thinking that everything is burning down around you. You said that it took you a long time to get to that point.
Yeah.
Was there a point in your life that was pivotal that really helped you learn that specific insight of how is this the best thing for me? You know, kind of that aha moment where either a company failed or something was going wrong and you finally it clicked and you started thinking that way and it's blessed the rest of your career. Can you think of a specific instance where that happened?
Oh, there's instances, right? A child learns to walk by falling down a whole bunch of times. Like you hit up against an obstacle, and then you try it and it works, but then you forget it and you stop practicing and you fall down again, and you do that a number of different times, and I'm constantly reminded of it. I mean, there's been several different instances where I was like on the brink of potential bankruptcy. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 4. We've gone through many different ups and downs. I mean, in the 2008 housing crisis, I went from, you know, having millions, millions and millions that I was trading because I owned a proprietary stock trading company, to owing the bank several million. And I thought I was going to be homeless and then have a huge debt on my shoulders. Right. And it's like the pressure that has. I mean, I remember walking out of, I had a home office at the time. I'm looking at my bank, at my trading going on, and I'm like, I can't watch this. We're just about to have a margin call. I'm like, I can't watch this blow up. So I went to the other room and I looked at my wife with my little son on the bed, and I was like, we're done. We would have, we've lost everything. And and I don't know what to do from here. And then we just sort of like brought our emotions back and walked into the office. And by some grace of God, it didn't actually margin call, it turned the other way and it started going back up. And I'm like, wait a minute. I managed to trade my way back to pay off the debt that I owed and then put a little money back in our pockets that we could then, live on. And at the moment, I thought nothing could get worse than this, because I had somebody, we were building a hedge fund. I had somebody who had already verbally committed to $100 million that we're going to put into this fund. So, I'm riding high. I think life is great. I go through this experience. I went from just a few weeks before thinking my life is finally made in my early 20s to then at that moment thinking nothing could ever be worse. And, so there's that. I mean, and there's several different instances. I do remember this one time, and, I hesitated sharing the story with others until I realized that sometimes you have to normalize this stuff to realize, so people understand that, what they're going through is normal and they're not alone. Where I remember sitting in the car and I wouldn't do it. I would never do anything for myself, but sitting in the car and actually giving us a little prayer that somebody would just hit me head on and just take care of it for me. Right. And it's when I hate it when people tell me, oh man, I'm at rock bottom. I'm like, you know what, dude? If you're telling me you're at rock bottom, you're not, because you don't know what rock bottom is. And you don't know what it is until you're willing to literally, give up everything. And that's like when you're hoping that it's done with, like say la vie, you want to be done. That's rock bottom. But, even in those moments, it wasn't in that moment where I'm like, why is this the best thing that could happen to me? Like I wasn't there yet. Right. I wasn't there yet. But what allowed me to get out of it was changing my mindset. And it was sometimes these different reminders of people that, would force me into this position to start thinking differently. And it's thinking differently that took me out of it. It's not in that moment. Sometimes you need accountability. You need a good friend. You need a good partner or mentor or something like that. That's going to be like, hey, wake up, dude. Like, how could this be a good thing for you right now? And every time I went through those periods, at this other massive breakthrough that happened just immediately after that. And so it's like, now I've kind of got to this point where I'm like, you know what? Like, get to this point when I feel the hardship and I'm like, this is awesome. And in a sense, I'm like psyched because I'm like, I'm getting ready for a new breakthrough, because it's the world's way of, toughening me up, making me better. And like, then I'm ready for a new breakthrough. It's like, wait, when we go into those situations, we don't go in those situations by accident. We go in those situations because there's something you should have been doing long before you went to that position that you weren't doing. So you get in that position and it forces you to finally do the stuff that you should have been doing right along that you didn't do. Right. And then you start doing it. And that's how you earn your way out of that position. And then you never make your way back there because you've been that much better. Right. We all have these things in our minds where we say, I couldn't be doing something different than I'm doing right now. Like we all do. If you don't want to end up in that position of hardship and struggle, then do the things that you should be doing. Like do the things you should be doing. And so what holds you back for most of us, it's fear or it's discomfort. You know, we want the easy things. We don't want to do the hard things. We don't want to do the scary things. Do the effing scary things, right? That's how you stay in this growth this growth period here.
For that time when you walked out of your home office to your wife and your little boy sitting on the couch or sitting on the bed, is there a piece of advice or a mantra that you would have, whispered in your ear or put a note in your pocket at that time that would have helped you in that moment know that it was going to be okay?
As much as I'd like to tell you yes, the first time you go through something like that, you're not going to believe it. Like if somebody said, this is the best thing in the world that can happen to you right now, I'd be like, get out of my way, or, I'm going to throw you through that damn wall, because you're not going to believe it. The next time you go through it, you may be a little more open to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Where's the advice? Where's the lesson? You're looking for it. Like,
yeah. And it's like, it also depends where the advice comes from, right? If it's come from somebody that I know has been in my shoes, been there, done that, then I'm all ears. But if it's just a friend, we all have those friends. Hey man, everything's going to be okay. Blah, blah. It's like, no, get out of here.
Yeah.
You have no idea what the hell's going on.
Please.
So no, I think, at the end of the day, maybe the story lands at the right time for the right people. And there's going to be some people who are listening to the story who are in a tough bit right now. And they're going to believe that their situation is so much different than anything I went through, anything anybody else has gone through. And that is different. And that's a story that they're going to be holding on to. It's not until they start to let go of the story that they're going to see change. But when they let go, they have to be willing to let go. Like they have to make the choice to let go. Like I've had enough of this. I'm going to let go and I'm going to move. I mean, some of the habits that I've taken that have been actually really helpful for me to remind me of the mindset is I'll journal in the morning and I'll journal again at night. I'll journal in the morning to set the intention and to remind myself of who I want to show up with and what my mindset is going to be like. Who am I going to show up like and what my mindset's going to be like, right? So boom. And then at night is, I'll actually read you. So I have a journal. I usually have a set of prompts that I have because I find it helpful. Otherwise I sit there and I'm like, what am I going to write about? Right. So one of the prompts that I follow every single time is my evening reflection. And it's what went well today? How did I act in alignment with my desired reality? And then the last one is, what can I improve tomorrow to better align with my goals? Right. And it puts me in a nice mindset to close out the day and finish it up. My morning intention, because I did mention it, my morning intention is what's my main intention for today? How do I choose to feel and act throughout the day? And what small aligned actions will move me closer to my desired reality? I have 10 different prompts that I have, and I'll write that one, and then I'll usually pick a different one. And then I'll go ahead and I'll write that. And I put it all in, my paper journal, and I just go for it.
What are those little papers that you're shuffling around? Is it like a printout? Is it
yeah, I printed this out. So I typed because I want to be able to take it from one to another. I typed the prompts that I use, and this is just prompts to get me thinking.
It becomes like your bookmark inside of your journal, and you just open it up and hit yourself with it.
Yeah, and then I flip through and I go, what is it that I want to actually write about?
Right. I'm a voracious journaler. I've got a bunch of these things filled top to bottom. And I got a gift for Christmas. This is a Christmas present that I got. And it's got your 3 priorities of the day, 3 things you're grateful for, a daily affirmation, highlights from the day, what I learned today, and then a prompt. Yeah. So For instance, today's prompt is share a specific moment from your childhood that brings you joy when you think about it.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I get to write about the time I won the bike rodeo in first grade, and I felt like
Hey, that's cool.
daily affirmation for today, and I would encourage everybody to give this to themselves in the mirror at the end of the day is every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. I stole that from the CEO of Mind Valley.
That's cool.
So, Charles, it has been a pleasure. Where can everyone find you?
Predictableprofits.com. That's our website. So again, that's predictableprofits.com. That's the best way to get a hold of me.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been the Pulse Ox podcast. Please, if you found this episode valuable, give us a like on Spotify and share it with a friend.